The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on The Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as The Film Crickets. It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, Jay, Chris, and Melanie will be doing a creature double feature. They'll be reviewing the 1985 American satirical science fiction horror film, The Stuff. Then they'll be reviewing the 1988 American science fiction horror film, The Blob.
Stay tuned, because strange things are happening on the Creature Double Feature. Next on 56.
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
Wow, thank you, YouTube, for bringing that back from my past. Holy smokes. All right. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Yeah, and this is, and if you look it up, the theme song was from like Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Really?
Yeah, it was like this.
Huh.
Like, I
Okay.
can't think of the song, but it was really cool. It's right in the middle of the song somewhere. So, very progressive rock, right? Is that's
Oh, yeah, it's prog rock. 100%. Yeah. Wow.
So they had this weird stuff. It was perfect for that song, for that show. Back in Boston, that's what we're talking about, everybody. We had every Saturday afternoon. It was a show, basically a thing called Creature Double Feature. Mm-hmm. And they had mostly they were dealing with Godzilla and whatnot. But
yeah.
they did throw in other like horror stories, like The Thing That Wouldn't Die, or whatever.
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, they did the classics.
Yeah.
Classics.
They would throw in others, which was great.
I was actually disappointed when it wasn't Godzilla.
And you were so used to it being Godzilla.
Yeah, and anybody watch old school Godzilla recently? Has everyone watched it?
It's very difficult.
No, but I watched the newest one not that long ago.
No, I mean the old school one that they would
very
play.
difficult to watch.
Oh boy, it's a shit show. It is a mess. It's a mess.
It's really hard to watch.
It's hard to follow. Really is. And it kind of I guess that caters to our kind of kid mentality. Like you only remember the monsters part. I don't even know what those stories
remember
are.
Everybody just running down the street screaming, and all of a sudden the big feet coming.
Yep, it's good stuff, but I mean, it doesn't make a lick of sense. So,
anyways,
yeah,
what
sorry.
I didn't tell everybody is this is the Film Crickets. Everybody. My name is Jay Fortier, and I'm along with my good friends and co-hosts Melanie Howerton and Chris Martineau.
Hi.
Guess which one is which?
I'm Melanie. How's everybody doing today?
I'm Chris.
I made my hair real nice. All right. Anyway, hi guys. How's it going? What's happening? Hey Melanie. Hey Jay. What's going on? How's everything? We're representing all ends of the East Coast here. Let's not forget that we are all over the place, North, Central, and South, and we're here to talk to you about The Stuff and The Blob. Yeah. Why do we do a Creature Double Feature? Is it just because they're both gelatinous monsters, or what?
Yeah. Well, we did
go ahead.
The Night of the Crepes and the Night of the Comet.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Like The Stuff and The Blob, because it's kind of
These are definitely two intrinsically different films.
Yes.
No doubt about it. I mean, in both cases, whenever you had, as Jay said previously, a gelatinous, semi-intelligent mass coming for you, they're really the only recourse is they will either eat you or dissolve you. There's really no... Even though the stuff, I guess, has more of a possession bit to the film.
They don't eat the blob.
Yeah, they don't eat the blob. No, you're right. But
you get eaten by the blob.
That's
but not.
And I think in both cases, because they are gelatinous masses, they can kind of end up anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? They can kind of fit through keyholes and doors and under crevices and whatnot. It's not like it's got to come at you with an axe. Like you have a moment before Jason comes through the door with an axe. Like this thing can pretty much get anywhere. So that's kind of fun. So I know that we're going to break this up into two pieces. We're going to do the stuff first, then we're going to do the blob. And I guess we're going to try to, it's not going to be like a 3-hour show, but, try to like cut it down. But let's start up top. Like, what's your history with the stuff and the blob? I know Melanie has shared pictures with us and the actual physical media she owns. Or her family owns, whatever, owned by association of the stuff and the blob. But was that a recent purchase? Have you always had it? Like, what's your deal?
We always had it. And whenever it came out, we always had it. I didn't even know that she actually had the stuff. And I don't know, maybe that we did borrow that. I know I watched it.
I would love to see a picture of your mom's room's dungeon that's just lined with these fucking movies.
It's all in a closet. It's all in a closet.
Okay.
Open up this closet. It's the closet that's under my stairs.
Okay.
And
so she's Harry Potter. She lives under the stairs.
Yeah, and it's so funny. That's so funny you just said that because so my kids have obviously two grandmothers. One on my husband's side. She lives in Noonan, so we call her Grammy Noonan. And my mom, because she lives downstairs, we call her Grammy downstairs. she's always joking. She's like, yeah, I'm Grammy under the stairs.
I'm Grammy under the stairs. Someone let her off her chain again. Get her back downstairs. All right.
Wes Craven did a story about her. It's called The People Under the Stairs.
Oh, my
That's
God.
Right.
All right.
That's right.
So she got all this physical media, already owned the stuff and the blob. And so what's your... when did you see it first? Like, what's your deal? I don't think we saw these in the theater. I think we were a little young for that, but
I don't remember.
Okay.
To me, I would think, I don't know. Honestly, I would think I could see myself going to see this because me and my grandmother and my mom, we went to the movies all the time. Like every single Sunday, that's what we did with my grandmother.
Okay.
We took her to the movies, went to the movies. So whenever there was any kind of movie you could think of that was a popular 80s movie, I probably saw it in the movie theater.
Okay.
And then I hadn't seen it in a billion years until the kids were small. And I don't know if it was on TV or maybe we did borrow my mom's
kids,
TV. I have no idea.
Let's all sit down and watch this outwardly turned stomach devour everyone. All right, great.
Yeah.
All right.
So we watched them, but I don't remember how we watched them. Probably the DVD. And then the stuff, I think I was just flipping channels one day and I saw it not that long ago. I was telling Jay I watched it, but not all the way. I think I just lost interest or something and then kind of went back to it. And then the Blob, I watched kind of recently when it was free on TV, even though I have it, because I was just kind of, I think it was on Tubi or something.
Okay.
We have them on DVD.
All right, come in. Jason?
I only watched the stuff years ago.
Okay.
Not the Blob. I'd never seen it until.
It seems like this is a George classic. The stuff. Would George make you watch this? No.
No.
All right.
No, I just heard about it through people. You have friends who are into horror just like you.
Okay.
And people are saying, "Hey, man, you should do this stuff, man."
All right.
Laughing about it. I was like, I'm like, it sounds really weird.
Looks like fluff.
But then one day, somebody was spending either the weekend at my house. It was like a family friend, and we were at the mall, and I had already checked out what was going to be playing tonight at the on TV. Mm-hmm. I was like, "There's this movie called The Stuff. We should go. When we go home, we should watch that. That'll be fun." And we did, and that was the first time I saw it, and the only time I saw it until the other day.
Okay.
But it stuck so well in my memory that I remember there was a character named Chocolate Chip Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
From I'm talking about I saw this in like 87.
Yep. Okay.
Yet I remember there was a guy. I was like, it's Garrett Morris.
Mm-hmm.
He was based on
and the other part.
Yep.
I'm sorry. What?
Famous
Amos Cookies. That's who they tried to base his character off of.
Sure.
Okay. And then the other thing I remember mostly is the old man at the beginning, which we'll get into, and the kid puking in the car, and then him saying, "Well, everybody needs to eat shaving cream every once in a while, every now and then."
Yep.
So, all right, yeah, that's pretty much it. I have no memory of the Blob because I've never seen it.
I saw neither back in the day.
Really?
The only reason I know these exist are because the stuff always comes up in horror movie compilations, which I tend to watch whenever one comes up. And Larry Cohen has made a lot of these satirical, like introspective or, kind of like commentaries on society. That's kind of his thing, even though under the guise of these kind of goofy horror movies. And The Blob I only know because of the cover of the DVD. Just the guy going, right?
Is this the first time you ever watched it?
I've never seen it. I don't know, maybe because, like, to me, I honestly didn't know it was a remake. I always thought that Blob 88 with that weird, awesome cover on that, like I said, on that VHS box, was the one that they would show like on Terror in the Aisles of the original Blob with the Jello coming out of the vents of the movie theater. So I just never thought it was this gruesome thing, and I didn't want to see something that wasn't gruesome. From back in the day. I didn't want to see it. It was either Godzilla, like old school horror was Godzilla or nothing, or Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein. So I didn't really care. And had I known, I would have watched this movie because The Blob is gross. Like, it's gross. The stuff is gross, but it's cheap looking, whereas The Blob looks gross. So I was pleasantly surprised. I knew what I was going to get with the stuff because of all the commentaries I've seen about the stuff. I was pleasantly surprised with The Blob. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun to watch. So I guess we're starting with the stuff.
Okay.
So we're gonna get into the stuff. This coming from me, my household did not ever invest in fluffernutters.
Oh my God, I always had it.
Never. My mom would not buy fluff. It was a treat whenever I went over a friend's house and they had fluff, and I'm like, what is this? And I'm curious to see. I'm sure Melanie found out like what the stuff actually was. So I'm going to put on my old man glasses and read the breakdown. So this stuff came out in 1985. It's rated R. Don't know why. Both of these movies are awesome. They come in at a crisp 90 minutes. Big fan of that. A delicious. Wow, this is a long IMDb breakdown. Holy smokes. A delicious, mysterious goo delicious and mysterious goo. That oozes from the earth is marketed as the newest dessert sensation, but the tasty treat rots more than teeth when zombie-like snackers who only want to consume more of the strange substance at any cost begin infesting the world. Wowzers. Directed and written by Larry Cohen, starring Michael Moriarty from Law and Order, and Paul Sorvino and Garrett Morris, and Danny Aiello's in this movie, and a bunch of anybody I'm missing here that is of note. A lot of people we've seen in a lot of movies. It was nice to see all of them. And so now we're going to talk about the stuff. So, original impressions.
I like the beginning.
You like the beginning?
Because I think the guy is nuts. Because he's just like this weird guy that just starts eating crap that's bubbling out of the ground. And I thought it was kind of funny that this other guy walks up and goes, "What are you doing, eating snow?" He goes, "What are you, out of your head? Of course not." Okay, eating snow is a little bit better than eating some mysterious crap that's gooing and bubbling out of the ground. But I just thought that was funny. He was like, "What are you, out of your head? Of course I'm not eating snow."
No.
Snow is snow. Who hasn't eaten snow in their life? But he's deciding to eat something gross out of the ground. Like,
I'm eating earth fluff. That's totally normal.
Yeah, all over his face.
Yep.
And his friend eats the piece of it from his finger.
His finger, yes.
Okay, so none of this.
And going to get fresh stuff, he's going to eat it off his finger.
Right. None of this seems like a good idea. Like it's like, I would never eat anything out of the ground, no matter how good it smelled, how good it looked. No. Yeah. And second, I wouldn't eat it off my friend's finger.
Yes.
No matter how good my friend is.
And I'm gonna be guilty of conflating these two movies a lot. So you're gonna have to forgive me here, even though they are two different films. It is the stuff when we meet the guys that come across the stuff mine, right? Yeah. The stuff is coming from the ground. Like, I'm sorry, did something crash land, or has the stuff always been here? The stuff's always been here.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But on the internet, it says something like alien substance or something. So it's like, was it in the ground from some alien stuff from a long time ago that just got uncovered, or is it something that was always on Earth, or did something crash? Nobody knows. It's just came out of the ground. Nobody has no idea.
So bottom line, we have a product that is addictive. We don't even really know what it tastes like. Ever notice nobody really says it's sweet, it's salty?
It's supposed to be sweet because it's being marketed as a dessert.
Yeah,
apparently you can eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah. But nobody says like, taste, it's sweet. Ooh, it tastes. Nobody ever says what it tastes like, which I think is great. Mm-hmm. It's kind of left to us what we think it should taste like. Because honestly,
I picture it tasting like.
Yeah, I can't. Nobody can get fluff out of their head.
But nobody says what it is. So that's the.
No, I'm talking about the people who are talking right now.
Yeah, no, I get why, and it seems to be the most
marshmallow fluff,
most pliable thing. Melanie, I'm just going to ask. So this stuff, the stuff, comes up out of the ground. Nobody knows where it comes from, which is a great kind of. Again, Larry Cohen is making this movie about anti-consumerism. Like, we as dumb consumers will eat anything that comes out of the ground. We don't even care what it is, where it comes from, if it's addictive, and they will market it to us like it's the best thing ever, and we will eat it as long as someone either gives us a good commercial or it's chemically addictive. And even if the companies know it's chemically addictive, they don't care. They're going to keep giving it to us.
All about money.
Yeah, and we see people kind of like just plowing through this stuff. Melanie, what is it in your research?
It is a parasite.
No. In the movie, what are they actually eating?
Oh.
Is it yogurt? What is it?
Okay. So it did say that most of it was made out of Haagen-Dazs ice cream and yogurt kind of mixed together.
Okay.
And then there's one scene where the enormous avalanche of stuff is coming through the wall. That is foam.
Okay.
Like fire extinguishing foam.
Okay. So whenever we see them eating this stuff, it's kind of like Haagen-Dazs ice cream that's been thinned because it's not thick like ice cream. It's soupy, but it's not soft serve. So somebody had
yogurt and ice cream together.
Right.
But also there was a bit of trivia where that kid did say, the actor, that he really did eat shaving cream.
Sure. Gross. Not necessary.
No,
but,
okay.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, why would they make him do that? Like, there's zero need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense to me either, because if those things were mixed together and it looked like that, also, like, you can eat fluff and it looks the same. I mean, so I don't know. You could eat Cool Whip and it looks the same.
But the fact of the matter is these actors have to keep making takes of this, and they're putting this stuff in their mouths. Mm-hmm. Either they have a spit bucket or they're eating it. And I can't imagine, like, after doing hours and hours of takes in this, like, eventually.
You'd look like those two guys at the end.
Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah, that was so funny.
Gross. So look, we've come to find out that even though we don't know where the fluff necessarily comes from, it's a parasite, it's or whatever, it's addictive, people are eating it, and eventually it's just taking over their insides. Mm-hmm. Their psyche, their their skeletons, I can't think of the word. They're just everything. They are internally just the stuff, which is why they have to keep eating more of it. So please remind me now. How did we feel about? And I forget his name. Michael Moriarty's character.
Not the detective guy.
David Moe. What's his last?
Moe.
Yeah, Moe.
Something.
Moe something.
He went by Moe.
Yeah.
Because
like,
and he always had a I love that he always had a reason why he was, his, because I always want more money or whatever it is. Yeah. His nickname is Moe, even though there's
thing going on, I think.
Yeah. So what did we think of him? That, like, was he interesting to watch? Did you buy his character? Do you think he was a good actor? Like,
he was likable.
Yeah, he was funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
I liked him. Now, at first, it's a hard pill to swallow, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he first is talking like this, it almost feels fake.
Mm-hmm.
Like a guy just creating this accent thing, and it's like, but the more you see him, I think he grows on you. Like, I don't think it's not an instant thing.
Melanie?
It also kind of seems like it would be an easy role to play, though.
Well, he's that actor, Michael Moriarty, is a character actor. Then he did Law and Order. He is very difficult to work with. He's been an alcoholic most of his life, so he's very difficult to work with. However, he is a good actor. There's no doubt about it. And what I think is interesting about the character, and I think it's a choice, which is why this movie looks kitschy. This movie looks like it's going to be campy. It looks old, but it looks like it's going to be campy. And the acting does come across as campy. And particularly when we see Moe the first time he talks, it seems like he has a fake Southern accent. Mm-hmm. It seems kind of fake. And he's hired he's basically, he's an ex-FBI agent that is now hired by people as a an industrial saboteur, right? He goes in and he figures out a company's secrets and he destroys that company from the inside. And that's why he's hired by the people that are in opposition to the stuff, because it's an addictive parasite that controls your psyche, is now running the gamut, and all the other ice cream companies are like, hey, we got to stop them. But what did he say? He also
wants to find out what the ingredients is so that they can apparently make it better and start marketing their own stuff.
Right. So he's trying to work his way in, and he's smooth, and he works his way in, and he charms people. And what I think is interesting about his character is he has that line, and I don't remember what it is, and maybe you can help me with it, where he says, you're not as dumb as you look. And he says, no one's as dumb as I look.
As I appear to be, or something.
Yeah. He's actually really smart. Mm-hmm. And he's using his, like, well, golly, guys, I don't know what y'all are talking about. And I'm not making fun
of legs.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of Southern people.
Columbo.
No.
He's absolutely that. Thank you. I never thought of that. Absolutely. He's doing a Columbo. He gets people's guards down because he figures that he's dumb, but he's not. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows exactly how to handle the situation. And even when he's in these very tense situations where he's going in and asking people about, what's going on in this company and what he never is flustered. He knows
super calm no matter what happens.
He's always calm, even when shit's going down, which is kind of unbelievable at the end. But when he's in these situations where he's pretending to be somebody else to infiltrate their companies, he knows exactly what they're going to say. He knows exactly what to say. And so for that reason, he is fun to watch. I thought, even though it looks like he's not acting well.
He's likable, though.
That's what I mean. It looks like he's doing a shitty job acting. But actually, that's a good job acting because it makes us think. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's hard to do. And maybe I'm giving him more credit than he deserves, but I know he's a pretty good actor. So I know I enjoyed watching him. Now, having said that, other people are in this movie like Danny Aiello.
Okay.
That's a military guy?
No, that's Paul Sorvino.
Name, so he's the guy with the Doberman pinscher.
Oh, okay, yeah. He looks so familiar to me. What was he in?
Moonstruck.
So many things. What was he in?
Moonstruck, he said.
Yep.
I don't remember.
Gotta see Moonstruck.
How about Pop or Don't Preach, the music video from Madonna?
Yeah, he's in that.
The Papa.
Isn't that scary?
Oh, he was a dad. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Danny Aiello's in this, and again, he's just to give an idea, like he's a couple years away from Moonstruck, which won Academy Awards, and he's not far away from these other movies that he's in. I'm blanking out a lot of them, but he's in a lot of like quote unquote serious.
He's in a Spike Lee movie, right?
Yeah. Yes, he's the pizza guy in
Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. Right.
Which I never saw, but I just know he's in it.
Well, I know he's in it. Right. And he's so good. He's been on stage. I'm pretty sure he has a Tony, and he's not that far removed from those films. So like, it's just strange that he doesn't, and he does a good job in it. Garrett Moore,
director.
Well, Larry Cohen he's a good director. He usually makes what we would consider to be schlock, but it's not. It usually has some underlying.
No, but does he have enough clout to bring these people in?
I don't know enough about Larry Cohen. I think he has clout in that people understand he makes these movies that have some hidden satirical message, right? That they want to do it. And I don't know enough about Larry Cohen. I just know he comes up a lot in horror movie anthems or pantheon or whatever the fuck you want to call it. So the bottom line is that he's able to get these things. So what we find out is Danny Aiello he has a dog that looks mean, but really the dog keeps eating the stuff. And that's the first time we see that the stuff can take people over. And that the stuff, when you eat it, you eat more of it, so the stuff takes you over. So that when people are eventually killed because they're being controlled by the stuff, they basically just kind of cave in because they're just the stuff now inside.
And they also seem kind of like really mean, but I don't know why the father was such a jerk in the begining, because like
he was just a natural dick.
Yeah. He was such a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's his nature though. He's a jerk.
Yeah,
straight up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't feel bad like seeing him.
Oh, I know. He was
like,
a super
that
jerk.
guy's a jerk.
But that little nuclear. So at the beginning of the movie, we see the kid there's like a nuclear family. So again, here's the satire, right? We have a nuclear family that watches a lot of TV together, and they all just buy into the fact that the TV tells them they should eat the stuff. And then once they eat the stuff, they're addicted to the stuff. And the smallest child sees that one night that the stuff is moving in his refrigerator, like in its own ambulation, right? Its own sentience. And he decides he's
by itself.
Right. And so he decides he's not going to eat the stuff. But the rest of them, the other three, are like, and again, it's kind of this nuclear white family, and they look like as creepy as the Duggars. And they're just like, no, eat the stuff. Go in your room and eat the stuff. And it almost looks.
You eat all of it. Which is so stupid. Why send a kid to their bedroom? You know they can flush it down the toilet or the sink or whatever.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that gives us the impetus for the kid to eat the shaving cream and eventually escape the family. But you wouldn't be like.
Why didn't he even fill up that thing all the way to the top? He could have put like a little spoon left in it and then pretended he was eating that. He he dumped it out and then filled the entire tub with shaving cream. He should have just acted like he ate all of it.
Sure. Well, whatever. I mean,
a spoonful of shaving cream.
Right. He wanted to prove that he was eating it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It didn't come down like he was eating it.
That. Oh, I ate the whole thing. You're eating a spoon.
But that nuclear family, like, they're so like creepy together. Like, you wouldn't. To me, the vibe was at first they're just like assholes, but after they're all kind of like, drinking the same Kool-Aid. You wouldn't be surprised if like mom started kissing the son. Like that was kind of the vibe I was getting. Like they're just gross together. Like they're so close. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be surprised. Like, hey mom, I need a bath. And he's like 17. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't, no, I'm just saying like that was the vibe I was getting. That's what he thinks. That's what Cohen thinks the nuclear family kind of is. Like, man, they do everything together. Yeah. And really you need to kind of break out of that.
So in the beginning, when the mother, like when the kid splashes the stuff on the kitchen cabinets, it's like one tiny little spot. And her kitchen cabinets are shiny as hell, and the stuff is white. It's not going to stain, especially nothing would stain that quick if you're wiping it up immediately. And she's like, well, look at that. It doesn't stain, low in calories, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's going to stain, especially something white that was on a shiny cabinet for 5 seconds. But I mean, and she just wiped it. Like it's like, I don't know, just like all little things like that. I just noticed. I'm like, nothing's going to stain that quick, and it's white. And her cabinets are shiny like glass.
It's a dessert topping and an industrial cleaner. Is that a Simpsons thing?
Maybe.
A dessert topping and industrial cleaner. Like, I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but what we come to find out is that as we're going through it, there's a giant conspiracy that Mo is kind of slowly uncovering. So Mo at first is trying to undermine or try to get the company secrets of the stuff, which they're coming to find out has no chemical nature at all. Like no one can really identify what it is, which is what they're saying. Sorry, it's very RFK-esque. Like, who knows what they're putting in our food? The guy that's in charge of Health and Human Services, should he sound like that? I'm just throwing it out there. I think that vaccines are bad. He sucks. So anyhow, I don't care who's listening. He's just like, come on. I think that I should swim in liquid shit. Because he did. He did. The man went swimming in Rock Creek. I live near Rock Creek. It is full of sewage. I think it'll be good for us. We all go down and swim in shit. So I'm on a tear today. So bottom line is that's kind of like that whole bit. Like we don't know what we're putting in our bodies. As long as they tell us it's good, it must be good. And so Mo, at some point, once he realizes it's a big conspiracy and they're just going to keep shoving this product down our throat, then it becomes less selfish, a little more philanthropic, though not entirely. But he goes and tries to like kind of break this whole thing. And he's got the young boy, I forget his name. What's his name?
Jason.
Oh, hey now, sorry. This kid knows where it's at.
This one actually knew their real names.
I know. This kid gets it. He kind of brings him in tow, and then we have the woman who's in charge of marketing this stuff.
He gets him in the car because he's running away from his family, and he goes, get in. He goes, who are you? He goes, I saw it move too.
Good enough.
And the kid was like, okay, I'll get in.
Good enough too. Maybe he's talking about his penis. We don't know.
Well, listen. Your parents and brother are already screwed. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you have a lot of options.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah, they're chasing him. They're going to make him eat it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys notice the Where's the Beef lady?
Oh, yes. And Abe Vigoda, who is probably in this movie, 40? Even though he looks 4,000. Where's the stuff? So eventually we get to, there's a big, is the stuff only in one place? I heard them say that the stuff bubbles up everywhere, but they only mine it in one place.
I think that's where they found it. On that one thing. I didn't think
Melanie, is it in Georgia? It's in Georgia.
No,
it's in Georgia, isn't it?
I don't know.
That explains a few things.
I know they were going
Melanie.
to Georgia for some reason, but I know I think it was just that one place.
They started in Virginia, and the pit is in Georgia.
Yeah, so, something was in Georgia.
Probably near your house, maybe. Just saying.
Was anybody else cracking up in the scene in the hotel? I just started cracking up. The stuff's coming out of the pillowcase. It wraps around his face. I just started laughing so bad. Like the whole hotel scene, I was just laughing. I just thought it was funny.
It does seem to kind of reach out and grab you and grab your face, which again gives this idea of its sentence. So if the stuff wants to take us over, why doesn't it just be like the Blob and jump out of the ground and crawl across the countryside and consume everybody?
It knows copyright situation.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Blob already existed back in 1950 something. I don't want to copy that.
Yeah, good point. Hey, Godzilla! It's not quite Godzilla.
Wait, I got one for you.
Hit it.
Yeah. Hey, you got the shinin. Wait, don't you mean shining?
Oh, yes.
Wait, you want to get sued?
Want to get sued? But anyway, the bottom line is that there's a lot of... Oh, so then wait. So now it seems as though Mo and the child are kind of on their own, but I got to fill me in here. The military is working, the physical opposition they get seems to be armed, but they come across a castle with Paul Sorvino, and those army are the good guys. And I'm conflating the two movies. Why can we trust Paul Sorvino and his army gang and not everybody else?
I don't know. That whole thing reminded me of Monster Squad when the little boy had to write to the army and ask the armament to come help, and they just did.
Okay, all right. Because
I was like, it just seems
they
so
seem more
corny.
like
The whole thing was so corny.
Like a what do you call it? A militia than hired. Yeah.
Which again is not unheard of in Georgia, I guess. So
because he figured that's the only way that he could get help is to go to them because
he could blackmail him by saying
story
talk about stuff.
I think our health should be much better if we had militia. Now Garrett Morrison is in this playing fame. It's gonna be this is all RFK today. So
I don't think that's ginger ale in your glass.
No, it totally is. I swear to God, it's all good.
It's whiskey, right?
No, it's not.
Yes,
really quick, look at my health. It's actually my So Garrett Morris is in the beginning of this movie. He does a Jerry Lewis. He's playing Famous Amos, basically. How was he involved with the stuff originally?
Because they're taking basically his brother kind of sold him out.
That's right. Okay, he had a company.
He needs to kind of buy this stuff, whatever. So financially, he wants to know why his company is kind of going downhill now, and the stuff is taking over and whatever.
Right. So we come across him, and he's doing the Don Knotts. His hands are lethal weapons. And then he immediately trusts Mo, and I know I'm skipping over it a little bit because Garrett Morris literally disappears for 15 to a half an hour of this movie, and then comes back at the end magically in Georgia, finds the place, and so here we have an African American male in Georgia with Paul Sorvino and his militia squad, and now suddenly in the movie, just Paul Sorvino, even though he's part of a militia, is just the most racist. What person ever, don't you go near my other white people? Why? What was the point of doing that at all? I get the fact that we're having this anti-commercialism, we eat whatever the government tells us to eat. Why that out of nowhere? Paul Sorvino's like not even thinly veiled. Besides dropping an N-bomb on him, which he didn't, he was basically saying like, get out of here and I want you near us other white people. What was that all about? Why?
I don't know why they would put any of that in there. I think it was supposed to have a lot of comedic, stuff to it that they had to cut out. Maybe we missed something that they cut out. I have no idea. I
don't understand why it went that route. Now come and find out Garrett Morris is possessed by the stuff. So what are they really trying to tell us there? I don't know, but I didn't know, like that to me is like were they trying to be funny? It's not like they thought the racism was funny. It's not like it was presented that way. They were just more like saying like, look how much of an asshole Paul Sorvino is. It was more kind of framed like that, like this person is ignorant. But I didn't
maybe they're supposed to be trying to make him out to be like a white supremacist military person or something.
I guess, but I had no evidence of that up to that point. And then and we also have another one.
I mean, I guess if you want to look deep, maybe his whole military squad was white.
Okay, I guess.
So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like there was not one. I don't know. I'm just guessing here.
Wasn't there a moment when we have the ad agent in that movie where obviously Mo likes her and she likes Mo, but then Paul Sorvino comes along and says, I'm going to steal your girlfriend. She's got nothing to say about it. Like there was that moment where like if you're not going to take her, I'm going to take her. I'm pretty sure she has a say in this. I'm just throwing it up.
It's also kind of weird,
I think she's just an all around monster. In those sense.
Okay.
But they just need him. There's a bigger monster out there right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they need him. No, I'm only guessing.
I'm with you.
I thought it was weird how he met his girlfriend anyway, because he literally interrupted a commercial being made.
Yep.
Anybody would have been so upset about it, but she wasn't even too upset. And then he pretends like he's like this billionaire person that wants to buy her whole agency.
Yep.
And then when she finds out that that's not, that he's not a freaking, that he's, you think she'd be mad at him or whatever, but she's not. And they're just like a couple.
Oh, Melanie. Not only is she not mad at him, he says, can I take you to dinner? And she says, does your hotel have room service?
Yeah.
What?
Immediately. She just met him like 3 seconds ago.
So again,
we're trying. I would think, did she do that because he was like a billionaire and he wanted to buy her whole agency or something? But now all of a sudden, even though they were kind of using each other, now they're just in a relationship, even though everything was a lie. I mean,
that wasn't a real good look. Put it that way. Like, it's not a good look. That does kind of age the movie, because that was kind of a thing of the 80s where the woman has no agency. She will go with the man that says, I want to be with you, which is not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
So by and large, when we get to the end of this movie, we find that everyone figures out this stuff is bad and that they should burn it. Okay. And by the way, one statement from, by the way, I know a lot of military people that own 2 radio stations, but whatever.
I know, that was weird.
But he lets this guy Mo just make one announcement, and then suddenly the entire thing. Yeah, everybody listens and burns the stuff, which is, again, how else are you going to stop the movie?
Because they were already addicted to it, and all the stores that were buying it, that spent their money on it, isn't just going to throw it away just by just one radio station.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, that was weak.
I think the main idea is that even if somebody says this is all bad for you, and everybody does say, hey, yeah, this is all bad for us, we should stop doing it, a company is going to say, yeah, but we're going to cut the stuff with this other thing, so now it's not addictive, but it's still addictive.
Exactly, that's what they were going to do. Those 2 guys were going to do that. They were just going to make the same thing, but not put this. Yeah, and then at the end, it was so funny. It's like crack. Hey, you got any of the stuff?
Yeah.
Like, let me open my trench coat and pull out a container.
Right. So the fact if you make something less scarce, it makes something more scarce. It becomes. Excuse me. If you make something scarce, you make it more valuable, so then it becomes a black market on whatever stuff is still left. And
apparently it works quick though too, because those guys that were trying to sell it and he made them eat it, like the detective spy guy.
Yeah.
They didn't want any of it, and all they did was have a few bites, and all of a sudden then they're like, trying to take it from each other. They're trying to lick up everything out of the container.
Sure.
So it's like whatever it is works awfully quick.
You see them all like just sort of like at the end, like
yeah.
I believe we would call that just desserts. All right.
Also, why did the kid jump into that truck? They obviously you can tell that's going to be filled with something. Mm-hmm. My biggest fear of jumping in there is that I'm gonna be drowned by whatever they're going to put in here.
Yeah, usually those trucks aren't empty for too long.
Yeah.
Chances are. All right. Are we doing trivia now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go.
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts. And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
Mine are at home in a display case above my bed. TMI, my friends.
It's just TMI. Too much information. Don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
All right, Melanie, tell us all about the stuff.
Okay. The budget was.
Let me tell you about the stuff.
Here we go again.
All right, wait.
It's good for you if you have some of the stuff. Sorry. RFK jumped in. I'm sorry. I can't stop him. All right, go ahead.
Well, both of these movies kind of flopped. This one was, the budget was $3 million and it only grossed 1.3. Mm-hmm. All right. It says the original cut of the film was said to be much longer and described by Larry Cohen as more of a dense feeling. But they thought that the film was too long, so they had to cut out a bunch of stuff to increase the pace of the film, which I feel like you can feel that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. And some scenes in which the stuff chases characters, a foam made of blended fish bones was used.
Gross.
It stank so much. As soon as the shots were done, the actors ran into the river in order to bathe and get rid of the stench.
Gross.
The stuff is one of the movies playing.
I hear that river is really good for. Sorry, I'm done. It's good for your health. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, here's one. The stuff is one of the movies playing at the Starcourt Mall during the third season of Stranger Things. They're watching this.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
That makes sense.
Larry Cohen stated, the day the stuff opened in New York, a hurricane hit, and the newspapers were not delivered. Of course, we had all these great reviews, but it didn't matter because nobody ever got to read a single word of them. However, the film was not a hit, and Larry felt that it was hurt by the fact that it was sold more as a horror film, and when it was supposed to basically be more like a comedy horror, so people weren't, they didn't like it because of that. Also, like I said, I feel like the whole military thing had a police academy feel to it, music and all.
Yep. It did have a weird soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like the credits had a weird, upbeat soundtrack. Okay, yeah.
And before that, it wasn't as funny, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of cheesier.
Yep.
Let me see. The scene in which the motel where the stuff comes out of the mattress and attacks the man and flows up the wall onto the ceiling was shot in the same exact room, that turned upside down.
Yep.
That The Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, when Johnny Depp's character Glenn is sucked into the bed and his blood is regurgitated back up onto the ceiling. Same room, same everything.
Sure. What about Tina?
I thought of Tina as well, but they didn't mention that. But I would assume it would be.
She was on a rotating room.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of was Tina, but then I read about Johnny Depp's character Glenn, and then that was Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, so maybe it was a different room. I don't know. That's all I got.
All right.
Jamiroquai was not involved in that room at all. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Virtual insanity? No. What? That's side to side, not upside down. All right, never mind.
It's time now for Final Judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the Final Judgment.
All right. It's time for Final Judgment where we talk about the stuff. The good stuff, the bad stuff, and the stuff in between.
Everything in between.
All right. So let's go with Melanie.
Fine.
Okay. I still love it because to me it's a classic. I think everybody that knows 80s movies knows about the stuff. But it had some cheesy parts to it. It looks very dated. It looks kind of old. I don't think it holds up at all, but it's still fun to watch.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I would say it only holds up as a piece of satire.
Yes.
But it does seem it's going all right. And then the final act of the movie kind of just falls apart. Once we get to Paul Sorvino, it just doesn't make a lick. It just doesn't make a lick of sense after that. It kind of takes all the funny satire that it was going for, and I think it kind of loses it after that. So
I agree. I think it started out really good, then it got weaker.
Yeah, it just got it lost its poignancy that it had something going, and then it kind of fell apart. So I think you should watch it just because it's Larry Cohen, and he's kind of like, if you're into this sort of stuff, all his movies are basically about the same vibe, ish. So, I would say no. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. Just a very distinct set of people, but
it's definitely a cult classic now.
I liked it. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, it does not. As far as like today's standards, today's look, anything like that, none of it, I think would fly. But it's. I find it to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
when
not hard to watch.
It's
quick.
I really enjoy it, except maybe I kind of just dealt with the ending at times. Like I didn't it didn't ruin it for me.
Yeah.
It didn't ruin that part. Didn't ruin it. I just think it's whatever. But I think the rest of it really is fun though. I like Mo. He's kind of like this.
That's what I mean. Like he's good to watch. Like he's really neat to watch because he really does play Columbo really well.
Like everybody needs to eat shaving cream every once in a while.
Yeah.
So right.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't. It wasn't painful because luckily it was again 90 minutes. If we're on 2 hours, that'd be a little rough. Right. I was ready for it to be done, and then it was done. Mm-hmm. So hey.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. I would recommend it to anybody that likes 80s movies. Yep. It's definitely a cult classic. Yep. But it does look old. Yeah. Yep.
And the satire holds up. The commercialism bit definitely still holds up. I would agree.
Sure.
So,
hold on.
Nope.
Let's before we go to the next feature.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Yay.
I love it.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
I love that.
Yep.
Makes me think of One Crazy Summer.
Yes. No, I used to beat the hell out of them. So look, the next movie is The Blob. We already talked about when the last time we saw The Blob was. We don't know. You need to go into that. So it came from the 50s. It did a remake 1988. And what's interesting about this movie is, and I didn't know, is that it was one of the screenwriting credits is Frank Darabont, who did Green Mile, helped Walking Dead, Shawshank Redemption, and he has kind of this cachet. So let's go into the Blob's breakdown real quick. 1988, rated R. This would not have been rated R today. Hour and 35 minutes. A deadly entity from space crash lands near a small town and begins consuming everyone in its path. Panic ensues as shady government scientists try to contain the horrific creature. Directed by Chuck Russell, who directed Nightmare on Elm Street 3, amongst other things. Written by Theodore Simonson, Kay Linklater, Irvine Milgate, and Frank Darabont. And starring Shawnee Smith, who's been in a bunch of stuff, Kevin Dillon, not to be confused with Matt Dillon, Jeffrey DeMunn, who is in a lot of Frank Darabont stuff, Joe Seneca. Jay, who's Joe Seneca?
They call me Willie.
Yeah, one and only Willie Brown. Paul McCrane, who's in RoboCop, wrote the guy from RoboCop is in this. Art LaFleur, who plays the pharmacist, so that woman's Shawnee's dad.
Oh, is that the sheriff?
Bill Moseley. Yeah, no, the pharmacist. Oh, the sheriff is Paul McCrane. He's the guy from RoboCop. There's another sheriff who
he's been in so many things.
Dies. Yeah. Oh no, the sheriff is Jeffrey DeMunn. He's in a bunch of stuff.
He's the one from. He's Dale from The Walking Dead.
Yes. Yes, he is.
He's also he was in The Hitcher.
He was in The Hitcher. He was in The Green Mile. He was in
so many things.
He's been a lot of stuff. He's a character actor, and he's real good at what he does. So, bottom line here is this movie. Again, I was surprised how much I liked this movie. I enjoyed it. It is The Blob. It has the same vibes as the original Blob. It's got some comedy in it, and it's gross. Like, it's real gross. Like, the deaths are gross. And it was fun to see that.
Yeah.
And that the grossness was coming at a surprise. This thing just basically is an inverted stomach that devours people like acid, like the alien creatures. And it's fan-fucking-tastic. And that's its only goal, is devour people.
Yeah, I actually do have something on that, sorry. And I'll just say it because you said it. The only rules for making the Blob movie was that they both agreed to the general concept that the creature would basically be an inside-out stomach. Meaning that the acid burning, melting, and devouring almost every single that it touches. It's a monster in its simplest form. There must be something about this thing that can slide under your door or squeeze through an air vent or quietly dissolve somebody in the next room. It makes monstery sense. It's a fear of the worst death, which is being eaten.
Yeah. And it's got no personality. It doesn't, like I said, it's not knocking at your door.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't see the hatchet coming through the door and it's about to come through. It can be anywhere at any time. It can go through the pipes. It can go through vents. It can go through anything. So, to me, that's really kind of funny.
Yeah.
Again, that's a classic creature, universal creature from the matinee era of horror movies, where it didn't need a motivation. It didn't need to be a psycho. It just needed to be an alien creature, and they were coming after us. And I think it encapsulates that very well. And what I'm seeing when I watch the movie is that they start out, first of all, this movie makes it sound like it's in a town that usually gets skiing, but it's warm like the Vermont Inn in White Christmas. If for whatever reason it's 70 degrees and it shouldn't be. This movie was shot in Louisiana, in Abbeville, I believe, and you can see some of the buildings. You can see Abbeville.
Mm-hmm.
It's Louisiana. I've never had a chance of ever having any snow. That's neither here nor there.
Colorado,
but it ain't.
Yeah.
And it's obvious because it's swampy. But the fact of the matter is like we have this thing that comes in, and it's a small town, like all of small town America in the 50s. We open up with a high school football game. Doesn't get much more like, what's the
American
George Lucas movie? American Graffiti, right? The cheerleader is going after the jock, and the cheerleader's father works at the drugstore, and everybody knows the minister.
Ribbed.
Yeah, ribbed. Oh, that was the best. There's so many funny moments in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it has some comedy in it, which is kind of fun. And then we see the drifter that comes in from juvie hall, and he's wearing a leather jacket. So he's kind of like, it's very 50s-esque. Yeah. Like, oh, he's a bad boy, but he's actually got a heart. He's just had a bad upbringing, and he just needs a chance. And that's when, in this movie, does such a good job of setting up the things that we're going to see later, even though we see that it's probably obvious. We don't see it till later. Like, for instance, when the drifter kid, Kevin Dillon, not Matt, Kevin Dillon, comes back to town finally, and he goes to, because it's a place that's supposed to have skiing, but it's warm, he goes to see his friend who does ski-doos. He fixes ski-doos like at a garage. He fixes ski-doos, and he fixes snowmobiles, and he fixes the town snow truck that they're going to make fake snow with, which I forgot about. That was going to be the thing at the end that saves the day. And then when the Blob eventually does corner these people in the diner, it doesn't come into the freezer because it's afraid of cold. And they're setting up all of these things that they're sort of hitting us over the head with it. Like, hey, guess what, guys? You're going to see this later. Yeah. But it makes us forget about it. I'm like, oh shit, the snow truck. Yeah. It's there. So to me, it does that. And it's got this neat humor throughout. I don't know. It just was such a quaint movie, even though it was devouring people grotesquely.
Now listen, I know nothing about whether Kevin or Matt are bad people. But they always seem to get roped into playing dicks.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's like, I need a jerk. Get me Matt Dillon.
Yeah, you're right.
He's not available.
Yeah.
Although,
how about Kevin?
They have, one of the parts that I thought was cute is when he's got Kevin Dillon is in the hospital and he's saying, don't worry, old dude, they're going to fix you right up, and you see that he's really like a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the guy that played in Wedding Singer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You know, that remember the old man that played in Wedding Singer? That's like,
they rip your heart right out of your ass.
Basically, it's Robert Kennedy Jr.
What we're gonna do? First problem is that we're at a hospital. Hospitals are bad.
Also, that old man is the. I feel bad. The guy always plays this old bum or a drunk.
Yeah.
But he was the old bum on the train with Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
Give me crack corn, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's start with the beginning of the movie. Like, what happens? Kind of go through it.
Okay. So, hey, a blob comes down and it eats a person.
Yeah, but it looks like a spaceship. It looks like a spaceship.
It does.
It's like a. You know, it's a meteor-looking thing, but it's obviously mechanical.
Well, you don't see that at first. You don't see that till later on. It just looks like a meteor that's split open.
Well, I thought I saw it when it was going by. But either way.
It looks UFO-ish. Yeah. It looked to me UFO-ish. I didn't know it was an American.
No, but it looked mechanical. It didn't look like a rock.
Right.
And it just the only one that saw it was the old man, right?
Yeah. Well, when they show it, when you first see it, you just see fire coming out of the sky, and when the old man goes and looks at it, it's covered in like this black rocky looking molten stuff, and then it kind of pulls open, and then it's that red that clearish kind of goo that's inside of it with light or whatever. And then later on, when the military people are pulling it out, you can see that it is mechanical.
Okay, now I'm gonna have just like the old man at the beginning of the stuff. Why, if you're at a flaming wreckage, things are hot. Things just landed from the sky in a big fireball. Are you poking around with a stick and then lifting this stuff up? Not only are you lifting it up, you're lifting it up to where it could fall directly on you. Yeah. Right? It's like, I don't know what this stuff is. Right.
But
stay away from it.
I think it's lending itself. That's how all the old movies started. Yeah. But what this thing does better is that we see that the blob goes on his hand, and then we see him later, and we see him trying to cut his hand off. But then the blob just like reconnects the hand. Yeah. And then in one fell swoop, you're like, oh, this is something. Yeah. Like this guy's trying to cut his hand off, and it won't let him.
Yeah.
And this is formidable. This is not something you'd see in a 50s film. Like in a 50s movie, A, you wouldn't try to cut his hand off.
Yeah.
And B, you wouldn't have the gruesomeness of it's going to reattach your hand whether you like it or not. So to me, that ups the stakes of a 50s vibe, but like getting it up to a modern level. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really, really neat. It kind of, you're not ready for it. Like to me, I'm going, it's going to be the Blob. The Blob is just campy, but you're not ready for the seriousness that this movie is taking it. So again, we have this small town cop, who's like, it's like a 2-policeman town, and Kevin Dillon comes back and he's a drifter, but this one cop is like, he basically knows everybody in the town. Everybody knows who he is, and we think, at least I think, he's going to be one of the people to make it to the end of the movie. Because he's so good and he's so likable. Yeah. And then at one point, the Blob is, and I'm not jumping ahead here, but it's just like, look, eventually, guess what? The Blob multiplies and it starts eating up the whole town. Yeah. Right?
It just gets bigger and bigger. And did you notice that it's getting redder and redder? Because at first, when you see it on the guy's hand, it's kind of more clearish, kind of flesh color.
It's bluish.
Yeah, and then later on, it starts turning more reddish pink because of the blood from its victims and stuff like that.
And that's awesome. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, this movie's also, it took away that star wide receiver that was taking the girl out. Mm-hmm. It took him out, and you'd think, he had a nice way about him that you would expect him to last to the end. Mm-hmm. And this movie was not afraid to kill little kids. I mean, I'm like, what?
Yep. Oh, I was shocked by that. Yep.
At the end?
Yeah.
Not only does he kill the kid, but he gets up and goes, like melting.
And we see the nice sheriff who's just trying to get a date with the woman. And then we have a horrifying scene where the last we see of that guy was, I gotta go. She wrote him a note and said, I get off at 11, come meet me. We can have a date.
Yeah.
And he's all excited because he's a lonely cop. And and we see him kind of apprehensive. Shit's starting to go down. He's like, I gotta go check on a friend. That's the last we see of him. Next scene, or is it progression of scenes? The waitress who he likes is in a phone booth with the blob all around her. Yeah. And we're like, oh no, it's it for her. And then we see his semi-digested form on the side of the phone booth.
With the sheriff badge.
We don't, with the sheriff badge.
That's the only reason we could tell it was him.
Like, we didn't get to see anything up to that point. We just know
we didn't see him even get it.
He got absorbed. And to me, that is fantastic because it's willing to do those things to you as the audience, right?
Right, you didn't get to see him get eaten. You just know he did.
He got eaten, and like I said, it'll kill children, and we get to watch it.
Well, you didn't mind when he was killing his friend, which was kind of funny at the pharmacy when he gets caught by he's like, yeah, give me a pack of Trojans, whatever. And then the pharmacy guy is like all like thinks he's a jerk, and then he sees the priest come in, and he was like, yeah, they're for my friend over there. I dragged him in here. He's got a date with a girl. And then you hear the guy going, come on, I can't leave this girl waiting. And then it's like the pharmacist's daughter that he's going to go pick up later on, which is so funny. That's the classic line, like, we don't know. The movie surprises you, like, the pharmacist is the dad of the cheerleader who ends up, Shawnee Smith, who ends up, being the final girl, basically, in the movie. And the boy picks him up her up on the date. We go in the living room. She goes, I got to meet my father. He's got his paper up like a 50s dad. Yeah. Got his paper up and he puts it down and it's the pharmacist. And I didn't see that coming. And the first words out of his mouth is ripped. Yeah. And then cut to the next scene. Like, it's trying to be funny. But how about his rapey friend and his little trunk that he opens with the basketball all the what do you call it? High school rings and all the whole bowl of strawberries and all the alcohol and whatever. He is literally Mr. Rapey. I mean, he is literally
oh my god,
he's gross.
Dude, when the girl's unconscious and you're opening the shirt, like without her knowledge, and you're just pretending that she's giving you the go ahead. Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. He's not a good guy. So he's like one of the only people that. Yeah, he's one of the only people that you like to see him go. Everybody else is kind of innocent and they just get eaten. Mm-hmm. And again, this movie sets you up so many ways. Like that Blob, the only thing I know of the original Blob movie is the movie theater scene.
Really?
That's all I know about it.
I've never seen it.
Oh, it's good.
Well, I just know that it's in there. Yeah. I know that it's in there because it looks like Jell-O coming through like the movie theater. And it's a classic 50s movie theater. And yeah, and this movie has a classic movie theater.
It does.
And at the beginning of the movie, when the two kids are like, we're going to go see Slumber Party Massacre, again, a movie. This movie is introspective, or it's making fun of horror movies in a horror movie.
Didn't they call it Garden Tool Massacre?
Garden Tool Massacre, yeah, whatever it is, right? And like the final girl gets it in the end, like they're making fun of slashers, because this isn't a slasher. It's a 50s monster movie. Yeah. And so... like, they're going to recreate that scene because the Blob is known for that scene. But when the two kids are saying, we're going to sneak off to this movie, it didn't even dawn on me that that's going to be the end of the movie. Yeah. And we're going to get the theater scene.
Yeah.
Before we talk about, we haven't even talked about the fact it's a government conspiracy. It's a government conspiracy. Sorry. It's all right. I'm feeling much better.
The diner scene in the movie theater scene was so good.
It's excellent. But can I ask a question? Like, I don't know about you guys, and I've seen this in a lot of movies. Have you ever smelled the sewer? It's bad.
No,
it's bad.
But sometimes
I'm just saying, like, it's all forms of filth and excrement. Yeah. And it's bad. And there's so many movies where the people our only escape is through the sewer, and people go and dive in and make it's not the worst thing ever, and they're not throwing up. And they dive in it and look for people with their eyes open in it. Like, I just have a problem with that. Because I'd be like, just kill me. I'm not going in the sewer. Just eat me. It's fine. I'm not going in there. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, if any cesspool, I am not going to jump into the cesspool. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. They make it like it's just water. It's not. It's all the bad
and
things. I've toured a water treatment plant, like at the intake. Don't ask why. And it's the worst thing you can imagine.
Class trip.
No, it sort of was a little bit. It was like a chemical engineering thing.
I'm joking. No, but I'm joking. Like, hey, it's 5th grade. Let's go to the water treatment plant.
But it's like you think, I just won't breathe through my mouth, through my nose, but like all of that, you can taste it as you're breathing in through your. It's the worst thing ever. In these movies where I'm just gonna swim in it to get away from the bad people. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not gonna do it. You're just gonna die.
What about
first.
Andy Dufresne?
Well, but he threw up at least once.
I can't handle bad smells.
You know, at least he threw up. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go into that, but
first time I saw the Blob.
Yeah, Randy Dufresne. I threw up. Anyway, so but I don't know. This movie is it's again very well crafted. We finally get the government conspiracy. The ET people show up in their spacesuits because they know it's dangerous, and we think they're nice at first. And boy, he turns on a dime. Good old Willie Brown, man. In this movie, he goes from nice
find out that it's biological warfare.
Yep, to not nice man. And his eyes, his big eyes that he's got, at first they look tender, but when he gets mad, those tender eyes are no longer, they are not nice. They're intimidating, and good for him. So
you didn't mind seeing him get killed either. When the blob comes up out of his little, you can see it in his little like mask thing.
Yeah, I go. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I don't know. I was digging it. I was digging it. Everybody that should have met an end. Well, that's not true. By the end of the movie, all the bad people got what they deserved, right? And
you talk about that with the snow machine, like how that comes in, and like basically the girl takes one of their bombs because he tries to bring in the snow machine, but the blob sort of takes over the truck and knocks it over. Yeah. Right? Doesn't it? Blob
something like that.
Yeah. It flips over.
And it's trapping Kevin Dillon in there. And then Kevin Dillon is trying to get out, but she's trying to distract the blob, and then she was able to shoot it enough to move it, right? And then takes up one of the bombs and puts it onto the machine so it can explode and then blow up like snow everywhere.
Well, it's liquid nitrogen, which once you heat it up, by the way, it just turns into gas. It sublimates, so it doesn't really do what you think it's going to do. But whatever, it doesn't matter.
It was still cool, though.
It doesn't matter.
And then it turns into the weird crystallized thing. And then the priest... they scoop it up and they send it to like something cold so it never can be brought back. But the priest kept a piece in a jar, and then he's like a psycho priest at the end, in a tent. Yeah. Almost like a
revival.
Handler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then he's talking about he's got this end of days type of situation. Right. And she's like, when? And he's like, soon. And then he pulls out a jar and he's got some in the jar.
It's like a Joker situation where suddenly, because you're injured, you go crazy.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I've been injured too. I mean, I don't go crazy. I just kind of go, "Ow, that hurts," and kind of move on with my life.
Well, that's because they're trying to
Of course,
it's almost like the crazy, overly religious person from the Mist.
Sure. I mean, I never saw it, but I know.
Have somebody like that in there that's like, this is what the Bible really says, and I'm in charge of all of it. I'll be in charge of when everyone's going to die.
He did say this was prophesized. He did say something.
Yeah,
they all say that. They can do it any way that they want to.
I'm just saying it seemed like he was heading towards the problem while everybody else was running away. So there was something odd with him.
Once again, The Mist, Frank Darabont also has Jeffrey DeMunn in it.
There you go.
They go hand in hand, those two guys. That's right. He always pulling out that guy.
Well, and then they forgot to say why they realized it was afraid of cold was because when they were in the diner and they hid in the freezer, it starts coming out from underneath the door, and they think they're going to get it, and then it kind of just reaches over there, and it's like, no, I don't like this cold, and then it kind of pulls itself out.
Ooh, this bad. It's kind of chilly in here. Yeah. I'm not going to cold. But on the other side of it, it's not Jason. It's not Jason Voorhees. It's not Freddy. It doesn't have those rules. It's just like you can go to old monster movie. It doesn't like electricity. It doesn't like heat. Yeah. It doesn't like cold. Why? It doesn't matter why. Mm-hmm. Those are the rules, and they're established. Yeah. And what's good about the movie is it's so silly, but there are rules. Rules are established in the movie as to how this thing will behave. Mm-hmm. And whenever a movie has rules, it's okay to watch. Otherwise, just making shit up. And that's a shitty movie. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's not good. If the movie doesn't have rules, internal rules, then you don't know what you're watching. You're just watching a bunch of garbage. Yeah. And even though this is silly, it's called The Blob, for God's sakes. So it's silly, but it's got rules and it sticks to them and it makes an easy story to tell. So anyway.
TMI?
TMI.
I just want to say real quick before that.
It's time for TMI with Melanie.
Listen to this. I am in the bathroom right before the movie starts. And I'm in the stall, and there's no toilet paper.
Mine are at home in a display case above my bed.
TMI, my friends. It's just TMI. Too much information. Don't go there, but that's lame.
Now, here's Melanie with your timeless movie info.
Sorry for the premature TMI. I am seeking some help. I'm hoping to have some medication.
I know I'm also like a 3-second delay behind, so you can't hear what I'm saying until like 3 minutes.
Usually only good for a 2-minute TMI.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny when he was like, "Great, I killed the strawberry jam," and then when you were saying that guy turns like really mean. I mean, he's like they're literally like trying to escape. There's a kid with them, and they're climbing up the manhole. So they've obviously escaped this blob, and they're like 2 feet in front of him, and he shuts the manhole cover right in their face. It's like he doesn't do that to contain anything. You know, the reason he knows they're not infected because it's not something that you're going to get infected from. So he knows that as well because they created it. He just didn't want. They knew what was going on, and the fact that he didn't want everybody to tell them that it was a man-made thing. But they got out anyway and were able to do it. But I just thought that was horrible when he closes the manhole cover right in their face,
and then drives the truck on top of it.
Thank God that guy had that bomb that he kind of blew open the thing with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always walk around with 2 grenades on my shoulders.
Yeah.
I always do that whenever possible.
All right. There's a lot of trivia, and I did cut out so much because, I mean, if you guys go on the internet, you can read a lot of stuff. There's a lot of good FX stuff that's in there that I had to cut out because it was just too much. Right. But I did get a lot in here. So, all right. This is so sad because I thought the movie was really good, but the budget was $10 million and it grossed 8.2. So it didn't do really well at the time. All right. Horror director Joe Lynch has stated in interviews that he loves the misdirect and the that ends with the opening credits, how it makes the town look like it's a ghost town, kind of eerie like that, only for it to be revealed that the only reason why it looks like that is because everybody's at the high school football game. Let's see. Paul, which his name was Donovan Leach. I don't know how to say it.
Sure.
All right. So he actually took Shawnee Smith, Meg, to his senior prom in high school.
That's nice.
Yeah. And he wrote her a thank you note afterwards, which she kept for years. And then later on, they appeared in this film together. I thought that was kind of cute. Kevin Dillon and Shawnee Smith both wore hair extensions as director Chuck Russell's, made them do it. Apparently Dillon reportedly hated them, but this is how Russell wanted the characters to look. So they both had hair extensions.
If I may say, it didn't look obvious.
No, it didn't at all. Yeah. I never knew that.
I thought it was
I thought it was real.
I'm like, hey, it's a mullet.
Yeah, totally. Yep. Let's see. Chad McQueen was offered the part of Brian Flagg, but turned it down. He did so because he didn't like the script, and he also had a strict personal policy of never performing in any production based on or inspired by the work of his actor father, Steve McQueen, who was in the original Blob in 1958. This was released 30 years after the original version of the Blob. It had been budgeted to an estimate of almost 80 times what the original cost. And one of the film's producers, Jack H. Harris, was also the producer in the original 1958 version. It was estimated that the guy spent under $10 million on the Blob. The budget was $15 million, and it was probably based on a 1987 Variety article stating that cinema group CGP had initially budgeted the film for $15 million and planned to spend an additional $5 million on advertising. but they went bankrupt during the making of this film. And TriStar Pictures stepped in to try to finish The Blob. It was an unfortunate box office bomb, making only $8 million during its run, which Russell blamed on the film's release during a hectic summer without any decent ad campaigns. The film quickly gained cult status and is often named as one of the most popular remakes ever made. A lot of the Blob slime or goo was made out of methocel, which is actually a thickening ingredient used in milkshakes. It's both unbelievably slippery and gooey. To stimulate the blob moving over surfaces, the methocel was sometimes put on miniature sets placed at 90-degree angles so that the gravity would make the stuff ooze down and simulate natural movements. So much was used on the set that director Chuck Russell was reportedly put off from drinking any milkshakes for several years. Let's see.
Yuck.
So much work and time went into the special effects of the blob that they named their work area the Blob Shop. Chuck Russell has stated that the CGI was considered to be kind of new at that time, and so they didn't really use too much of it. It was kind of a new thing, so most of it was, that they had to kind of hand make everything, but they did a little bit of CGI work just to create the sparkle effect on the frozen fragments of the blob.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. A small scene where the creature is crawling towards the town was cut from this film, but it ended up in Ghostbusters 2, 1989, as part of the slime attacking New York. The special effects included an entire mini version of the town. The blob's movement was primarily hand, wire, and rod puppetry. Some stop motion was used, and you can see the glimpse of the stop motion in the movie theater scene thanks to the strobe light effect because of the contrast of the high-speed action miniature work. Apparently, too, I thought I guess I didn't put it in here, but it was really hard to film the blob because it was so shiny and iridescent. It was messing with the cameras. So it was just kind of messing everything up.
That makes sense.
Let's see. Okay. Sorry, cut this part out because I'm too slow. All right. The big stunt move where Brian's jumping over the ravine with a motorcycle and the helicopter is flying overhead. Both tires blew out on that motorcycle when it landed, and the stunt double actually held the bike up all with his upper body strength and his feet.
Wow. All right. Yeah. That's what get paid the big bucks.
Yep. The overhead shot in the phone booth where the blob explodes on the waitress is accomplished by using a 3-foot phone booth model. They originally took a full body and face life castings of her and created a life-size dummy, and they were trying to shoot it in a regular-sized phone booth, but it never worked right, and they had to go and use miniatures for that instead. I cut out a ton of stuff because I knew we were doing that one.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Well, good. Thank you. It's a lot of interesting information. I don't know how they did it. That's why these people do it. So, final judgment.
It's time now.
Again.
For
final judgment.
Judgment.
The finalist.
Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
Sorry. I'm ready to rubber stamp it.
All right, who's first?
All right. Go ahead, man.
I'm gonna go. This movie holds up. I think it's fun as fuck. The special effects don't have to be super good because it's a throwback. Yeah. I think it's great storytelling. I think it sets us up. If you've never seen it, it kind of plays with your expectations because you know that there's an original Blob, and they kind of mess with that a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's really good storytelling. I was down. It's a crisp 90 minutes again. You got in, you told the story, you got out. We don't need to do anything more than that. We don't need any backstory. It is what it is. It was good. I recommend it. It holds up. It holds up.
Yeah.
I agree.
It holds up.
I think it's it's fun. There is yes, it's scary if you're thinking of like the people who are getting sucked up into the blob or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's moments that could be considered scary to some, but it's still a lighthearted film as far as the way it's told.
Yeah.
Like the way, you know what I mean? Like there's moments you're laughing about the father holding the newspaper and, ribbed. So there's a lot of like comedy in there as well. So it's a light fare for a horror film.
Sure.
So
but it's gross.
Anybody? Yeah,
but it's gross. It's gross. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the mood.
No, I know, but it is light fare. It's easily digestible, but it's gross. Yeah. Which is it's a very it's because of all the additives. All right.
All right. So yeah, I definitely think it holds up. I love it. It's one of my favorite 80s movies. For like a horror type. It feels like a drive-in movie, you know?
Sure.
So I do.
It's meant to. I think it's meant to.
Yeah.
That's why we got the double feature today.
And it doesn't look old at all to me. I don't know. I think that all the actors did a great job in it. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that likes movies like this. It doesn't, like I said, it aged well, and I think it definitely holds up.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
No. Good stories last forever.
Yeah.
It was told well. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you.
I found out there was a Blob too that the priest was in. I don't know if I've ever seen that though.
I don't think anybody has.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to look that up because I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Maybe see Amityville 11. How about that?
Oh
we should
God.
watch that one. Amityville in space.
I have not seen that.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I saw the trailer. It looks terrible.
Okay.
Looks like we could film a better movie.
I'm sure we could.
That was our coverage of the Blob and the stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the creature double feature that we had. We were supposed to have Jordan from Can't Buy Me 80s to join us on this one. She had to cancel last minute. That's why she's not also in the intro or anything. I don't have to tell you that she was going to be in here. But she did. No, but I'm saying she did agree sometime in July. We're going to be doing A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1.
Yay.
Okay. Sure.
So it's one we've never done.
All right.
And we just talked about that today.
Yeah.
Oddly enough,
that's true.
Why I'm bringing it up.
No, good point.
We brought up the whole scene with the in the stuff of the room twisting and turning, or the blob itself going up the wall. So I figured it was like might as well mention that because we're going to talk about that in sometime in July, maybe released in August or something. So
cool.
We shall see. Until next time, before I say that, I'd like to thank Steve LeVoy for his hard work on that awesome intro, and Draco and the Malfoys, who were also in the intro, like big time. I mean, like the whole bit. Song. Yeah. That was cool. Until next time, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.